You've probably noticed how some people, without even trying, they seem to guide conversations effortlessly, almost like they know the secret pathway inside someone's mind. Maybe you wondered, how do they do that? How do they turn resistance into agreement, tension into understanding, chaos into clarity? It's fascinating, isn't it? Because the truth is, most people think that when they feel triggered, the best thing to do is speak their truth, to explain, to prove their point. And yet, have you ever noticed how that rarely works? How the harder someone tries to explain, the more the other person resists, almost like a door slamming shut. But what if there was another way, a better way? Because right now, as you hear these words, you might already begin to notice that there's a different kind of power, a quiet power, the kind that doesn't push, doesn't force, but instead guides. A power that opens doors instead of closing them, that creates agreement instead of resistance. And it all starts with a question. Because, isn't it interesting how when someone is so sure of what they know, the moment you ask them, "Oh, that's interesting. How do you know that specifically?" Something happens. There's a shift, a pause, and in that space, something begins to change. Because suddenly, they're no longer just reacting. They're thinking, searching, looking deeper. And as they do, they start to align. Not because you told them to, but because they're discovering it for themselves. And isn't that powerful? Because when you truly understand this, when you begin to see the world as a set of questions, questions that guide, shape and transform, you start to realize it's never about forcing your truth onto someone. It's about leading them, step by step, into seeing what they didn't see before. And as you begin to integrate this now, as this way of thinking starts to become second nature, you might find yourself the next time a conversation takes a turn, just pausing, breathing, and then instead of reacting, simply asking. Because every question is a door, and you now hold the key. And as you continue listening, you might already notice a shift, subtle, yet undeniable, like a door you never realized was there. Begin to open. Because isn't it fascinating how people they move through life, believing they must fight to be heard, to speak their truth, to prove, to defend. As if words alone could break through walls, and yet, the more they push, the more resistance grows. And yet, there are those who seem to move through conversations differently, with ease, with grace, guiding minds, as if tracing invisible threads, weaving thoughts, shaping reality. And maybe you've already begun to notice that true influence isn't in the telling, it's in the asking. And the moment you begin to see that, the moment it clicks, everything changes. Because what if every conversation, every interaction, it's simply a pattern, a structure, waiting to be rearranged? What if instead of reacting, you could pause, breathe, and let the perfect question, the perfect pattern unfold naturally? It's so easy, isn't it, to watch as someone stands firm in their belief, convinced, unwavering, until that simple question, "Oh, that's interesting, but how do you know that specifically?" slips into their mind like a key turning a lock. Then suddenly the gears shift, the mind searching, reaching, exploring places it hadn't considered before, not because you told them to, but because the question itself pulls them in. And isn't that the secret? The realization that persuasion, true effortless persuasion, it's never about you speaking louder. It's about them discovering for themselves. And as that realization sinks in deeper now, you might already begin to find that you no longer react in the same way. That old urge to push, to prove, fades into something else, something stronger, something more effective, because now you see the world differently. Now you see structure, patterns, levers to be pulled, doors to be opened, questions to be asked. And each question unfolds another layer, like peeling back the surface to reveal something deeper, something more real. And I wonder, the next time a conversation starts to turn, when emotions rise, when tensions build, what will happen? When instead of reacting, you pause, breathe, and let the question find you. Because now, something is different. Now you hold the key. And as you step into this new way of being, You might notice how naturally it comes, how easily it flows, how the world bends, aligns, shifts, not through force, but through the power of the right question at the right time in the right way. And as this understanding deepens, now effortlessly, unconsciously, something new begins, because this is who you are, isn't it?